Can you ignore debt collectors? No, you can't, or at least you shouldn't. The best thing you can do is know your rights so you're prepared, because knowledge is power. Ignoring them is a short-term coping mechanism that might feel good for a moment, but it can land you in some serious financial trouble down the line. Debt in the UK is skyrocketing. We're talking figures going from 2 billion in 2020 to a predicted 2.3 billion in 2025. So if you owe money, chances are you're not alone. In fact, lots of people in the UK have multiple debts, which annoyingly keeps a lot of debt collectors in jobs. Let me explain to you how debt collectors work. They're either working directly for your creditor, the person or company that you owe money to, or they're from a company that's bought your debt. Their job, plain and simple, is to get you to pay up. They'll likely send letters to your home and even give you a call to remind you of your debt. They won't often show up at your home, but if they do, don't let them in. Speak to them through the letterbox and tell them that you only want written communication. If you know for a fact that you owe the debt, the best thing that you can do is respond and figure out a repayment plan. Ignoring them won't make the debt disappear. In fact, it'll only make things worse, like more severe actions taken against you. But if you don't think you owe the debt, then it's their job to prove that you do. So send them a prove it letter, which I'll leave in the description for you. Some big debt collector names to look out for include Cabot Financial, Lowell Financial, and PRA Group. Make sure that you're in the loop about what you owe to who from your bank statements, emails, and letters so that you can create a strategy to manage it. But let's get something clear. Debt collectors aren't bailiffs or high court enforcement officers. They can't just waltz into your home and seize all your stuff. They have to follow certain rules, like not harassing you, for instance. So they're persistent, but they're not as scary as you might think. Debt collectors can call you, but they can't be unreasonable about it, or it's considered harassment. They also can't show up at your home uninvited if you've told them not to, and they can't forcibly take your possessions or wages. So, you've got some rights. If you think a debt collection agency is stepping out of line, you can make a complaint. Phone calls from collection agencies are pretty common. The good thing about this, they're convenient and less time consuming. But there's a catch. You won't have any proof of your agreements unless you get it in writing. So if you make any deal with them, always ask for written confirmation. If a debt collector agency doesn't play by the rules or breaches a Financial Conduct Authority's guidelines, that's FCA for short, you can complain. Start by contacting the agency directly to resolve the issue. If that doesn't work, then you can escalate it to the Financial Ombudsman Service. They'll investigate, and if your complaint is valid, then the agency could face fines and you might even get some compensation. Debt collectors have a strong incentive to get you to pay because that's how they make the money. They get a cut of whatever you owe, so trust me, they're not going away. Some of them even get bonuses based on how much they collect. So if you think you're going to grind them down by not answering the phone or door, unfortunately, that's not the case. Ignoring them has some pretty serious consequences too. For starters, your debt will keep growing thanks to the magic of interest. Your credit score could take a severe hit, making it harder for you to get loans or credit cards in the future. And guess what? There might be options for settling your debt that you're missing out on by sticking your head in the sand. So for example, there are independent charities that can help you set up a debt payment plan that you can actually afford. Before you go paying off that debt though, like I mentioned before, make sure that it's actually yours because sometimes debt collectors get it wrong. Check if your name is listed correctly on the letter or any other documents they send. If you still have doubts, you can ask them for proof that the debt is legitimately yours. And while you're at it, check to see if your debt is statute barred. That's meaning it's so old that it's no longer legally enforceable. Now, not all debts can become statute barred, so it's worth checking out. If your debt fits into that category, then the term is 6 years. There should be no payments made in that time and no communication from either party about the debt. That makes it statute barred. If that's the case, they can't take you to court to make you pay up. If you've got debt, you've verified it's yours, then don't despair. There are different solutions available depending on your situation. Debt management plans, individual voluntary arrangements, and even debt relief orders could be options for you. But the best thing you can do is speak to someone and research thoroughly to explore these routes. I've left a short multiple choice form under this video, and it'll ask you a few questions like how much do you owe and how many people do you owe. At the end of that form, it'll connect you to a company who I've partnered with to help you explore your options. Click the link below if you want to fill it out.